All right. Maybe I should have done this video up on just YouTube and just uploaded a video through there, just made it private and then published it afterwards. But I'm just saying because that freaking bell sound, bing, sounds kind of a little annoying. But anyhow, so I'm saying here, hi, I'm Chris. I'm your video host here. So I'm just saying on high IQ, I have a high IQ. So I named it after my personal self having been tested before and having a high IQ. So you want to talk smack, whatever, you can kiss my butt, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have to say it real like masculine with swear at you. I'll say butt instead of the other word. I don't care. So anyhow, trickle it down, which is what the left wants to do has been doing. And we've seen that forever. And Sean Hannity made a perfect. Speaking of that guy, he made a perfect point the other day on his radio show. He said, "What did he say?" He said, "Shoot, I forget. I forgot just like that quick." So trickle down economy. What the left wants to do is they want to subsidize, have all these subsidies. So we're going to talk, trickle it down. So we're going to talk about them taxing everybody, and then we're going to say let it fall economy. The let it fall economy is the one where you tax the people less, um, but you do it in a way where you still get your revenue or whatever. Everybody's happy. Employees, they know what's going on and everything. Nothing's a trick or anything like that, and everybody can work peacefully and be satisfied. And people who don't work can not work in peace and be satisfied. So, what they do is they get they want to tax everybody um, as much as they can, and then they'll say, "Oh, well, we're not going to tax the middle class or the poor people." But whenever they go after, like, what Hillary Clinton's plan is. Let me take a look at this real quick. Just announced. This is on Tea Party Bulletin. I don't uh, I don't really subscribe to Tea Party really at all, but I guess they sent me an email, so I must have been subscribed to it somehow. I don't subscribe to anything that is so. Even though I believe the Tea Party should have some honest opinions and should be pretty straight, squared away. But I cannot agree to the point um, where they're so opinionated that you're never gonna side with them because you know it's just their opinion is gonna divide people up and make people frustrated. You get what I'm saying? So it's not a Republican uh, forum. If you want to be in the Republican Party, that's one thing. If you want to be in the Tea Party, that's another thing. If you want to start a third party or go to a third party, like what we're saying, that splits the party up basically with everybody who's on board with how our country should be treated, not necessarily how I should be treated. But I know that I've expressed different opinions that are come down to what everybody else does. Everybody else has their own personal, view on everything. So here in the Tea Party Bulletin, they just announced what I've been saying. Okay, even for a long time was that she was going to go and raise taxes. So Whenever she goes, this is what this is. If you thought Obama was bad for the economy, he has been and is, then you're really going to hate the idea of Hillary getting into office. Why? Because she wants to kill our economy. We know that they want to kill our economy because that's how they become more of a dictator. If they can change the whole scheme of things, and what it really looks like is it looks like they're putting it into perspective of what the Bible says, and that's a one world economy. And so traditionally people like Hillary Clinton, these people would would just take away and kill your religious freedom. So I don't know exactly yet how people who are um like that kind of philosophy, like really they want you to think liberally when it comes to even religion, like, oh, you can't kill animals to eat, um, and they abort babies. They think God's okay with that, and homosexuality. And I can find nowhere in the Bible where it says anything good about homosexuality. But yet these guys are saying that now we don't have a right to even teach that. So I teach it anyway. I tell them anyways. If they sent me a threat, if the government sent me some kind of threat in my mailbox or something and told me I need to straighten up on my YouTube channel, I'd either send the thing back or I'd reply back with the letter and I'd tell them to kiss my ass. That's what I would tell these pricks right here. Go ahead and go. If she got elected tomorrow, I wouldn't honor or respect a single thing that she would do as president. So you have that much more time for these liberal bimbos to be in there to do this, to exactly kill our economy. So at least we're on board there with the Tea Party there with that one. But I was made convinced that the Tea Party was wrong. Um, Not that they're fundamentally wrong or ethnically or even morally, if you want to say that, wrong. They're just when it comes down to it, some have been a sabotage, and were actually some Tea Parties turned out to be down here in Florida, in South Florida, were for the Democrats back in 2010 or something like that. So I remember there's a sabotage there in that one, and again, it will always um, divide people, and that's what I think these guys do. Therefore, dividing the country up. Obama comes out. How about tell that guy Sean, that 90-year-old black gentleman that came on there, ask him about that. How come Obama says repeatedly that people, Christians, and everybody else has got to change the way they think? You know, he's so for homosexuality and thinks homosexuality is all right, but everybody knows that it's wrong, it's morbid, and it's a sin, and it's not natural. There's no way. These people keep arguing with me over it like it's supposed to be a natural thing. I do not think that you're right. It makes people weak. It makes them weak in the mind, and it also makes them like a woman can be feminine and be strong, but a man cannot be gay um and cannot be that feminine. I'm saying there's always, like they say, who's receiving and who's catching, who's pitching, or whatever they say that. So there's like a guy figure, if it's a girl or a boy, uh gay relationship, there's always the girl in the relationship and always the man. I'm saying that the girl man cannot be strong, but a feminine female girl woman, a real one that is straight, not homosexual, but straight minded, can be strong as I mean, a hunter strong. You know, like don't mess with this bitch. I'm just gonna say it. Don't mess with this bitch. Strong. but a but a gay woman, a gay guy who plays the female receiving, or however you'd say that, cannot. He's always going to be a weakling, and that's a weak part of your society right there. So, anyways, this guy goes on. He's all, I'm overreacting. You say. I reply, not so. Look, this is where writers talk to themselves. They think ahead of the comments and think, like, kind of hypothetically here, because he doesn't really expect somebody to really ask him, I'm overreaching, you say, you know. But anyhow, that's my opinion because I write a lot, and that's what I think that happened there. But anyways, if you want to improve something, then a key factor in improving it is making it more profitable. But when you take away more of the money that a person would make doing something, then you make them less likely to do it. Okay, I want to stop right here, okay? Why? I hate those. Those are pop-ups on these things. That's another reason why I really don't know if I like those too well. But these articles, you know, if my articles did that I write on WordPress, I would be embarrassed, honestly. If every time somebody went and read one of my articles, good or bad, if it popped up like that and it sent a pop-up in their face like that, I would be, honestly, I would be embarrassed. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, here is Trickle It Down, right here, Miss Clinton, Miss Trickle It Down, Mr. Obama, Mr. Trickle It Down. So what he said was, what Sean Hannity said the other day is there's more people on food stamps and on welfare than there ever has been ever in American history. You can go and look it up since Obama got in there. 33% of our nation, of our country, that's still a little significantly under half. I wouldn't panic or freak out maybe just yet unless this person, this bimbo right here gets in there. And then there's 40% or more people that are basically struggling to survive and taking some kind of government assistance, food stamps or housing or something, and they're not able to survive on their own. Now, when there's no government, those people are going to be, they'll either, it'll be real doggy dog savagery or something, because they're not thinking in a sense, well, this is our community. If we want to, we can just bump these bimbos right out of there, and we'll have to build our communities how we intended them to be and expected them to be. You know what I mean? And make it a raw time again. 'Cause this is America, where people die over shit that they're putting them in for, you know, real limited amount of time, where people know they should have probably consider maybe going beyond castrating some people for some instances. But anyways, so a trickle down economy like these bimbos want. There's more people on welfare. The um, inflation is still going up. It hasn't stopped. When does it gone down? When has it stopped? Or when is it keep going sky high? So who do you think these businesses, when this bimbo, she gets in there and she goes and taxes people with businesses, where where do you think they're they're going to charge, because they're the people with the businesses with the stuff. They need to stay in business, right, and make their money, right? They're going to make their profit one way or another. Who's going to pay for these taxes when they go to the store, all these different stores now, and buy something? Who's going to pay for that? We're going to pay for it. So we're not only are we charged, we're charged in our incomes, on our salary. We're charged when we go to the store. Now we're every time something these liberal advances happen like this, we are charged the tax that they charge us, and they come right out and tell us this is what you as a consumer or a buyer have to pay when you go buy gas or anything else. And then on at the same time, the people are going to be able to charge the people more money. And these guys can act like they can make laws to make that not happen, but I'm sorry, but that they're going in the wrong direction. And in my opinion, honestly, in my opinion, I believe that we're going in the wrong direction. If inflation is still going high up and higher, so you haven't convinced me yet, and anybody else. I will talk them straight out in a New York second. I'll talk them out of this liberal nonsense right away, kind of like smack them with reality. So trickle it down. This is another thing that happened that's terrible. So they tax whoever they can tax more, because now they have to figure out who to tax even more, because there's been so many liberals, liberal business nonsense going on for so long. So now they want to go and tax some more. So the trickle it down part, all that tax money goes through our government, right? So it trickles through them first. They're like, we want this money first. So they get the money, right? And then they're like, we got elected as a politician, so we're owed some of that money. So they're owed that money, right? So they want to trickle through them first before it gets to welfare. By the time it gets to welfare, no wonder they're having such a problem with that, because that's what those funds and everything were for, to take care of children and people in need that needed help. And instead of hiring and creating government employees or businesses from the government that comes out and helps people to successfully make their own businesses and survive, they're doing something a little bit more, a lot more, I'd say. It's gross, it's disgusting, it's mischievous what they're doing. So by this trickle down nonsense, it's ridiculous. So the money, so they stress people out that are on disability or should get their disability and other things like that, and they're all completely wrong. They want to cut the military at the time when we need their military the most. So a lot of it doesn't make any sense. So I think that if you went back and looked at that inflation thing, I think that you're going to see that inflation went down dramatically and was almost unheard of. Like inflation, what's inflation? Inflation, have you heard of inflation? When Nixon wiped the debt, the national debt out almost completely. Before they made a mockery of him, he was too paranoid and couldn't figure it out, and how not to be at least some way mischievous and dark and sinister in a very minute way, enough to get him hammered and fried in front of the nation. But when these guys, it's like they're what do you say, invulnerable whenever it comes to all of the negative and bad things that they did. Um, it's like an honor badge or something to them for them to have a Watergate, But to the extent of it being a Benghazi incident where people actually die over it, you're talking about manipulating the IRS, um, You know, so many scandals circle around this dipshit Obama. I'm gonna say it. He's the most criminal, most sinister idiot I've ever seen in my life. He's stupid. He's a stupid man. When this guy became president of America, his Senate seat, okay, got the governor of the state that he was a senator in, sent to prison because they could not stand to not do something illegal and mischievous. So the liberals had to sell and negotiate Obama's Senate seat whenever he became president. That is what I remember, and that's what I always remember is them scamming us and bamboozling us so much, in that many people that voted for that out there are really like my enemy. If they haven't squared themselves out in their mind and they're mentally challenged still whenever it comes to going out and voting, and they want to run out there and vote right away, okay? And all that stuff that I just explained right there, for some reason, they hate the Republicans because of marijuana, because they won't legalize marijuana. Well, either will the liberals. The liberals are going to lie to you no matter what. So you're going to go out here and vote for somebody who's going to have a pathological, and then they want to say, oh, well, Obama didn't do nothing. He didn't get caught. But the guy, just like Bill Clinton and Hillary, just like the Clintons, has dirty money laundering paper trails, cocaine, drugs, whatever else, illegal stuff. And we're not talking about weed. No wonder they don't like weed or won't legalize marijuana, is because they're selling it, delivering it. So once they become president, look at this. Once a person becomes president, like Bill Clinton and Obama, they think that they are bulletproof to the law, and that the law could not, even things that happened to them way before they even became president, okay? Even a murder, they think that they are um, immune to the justice system and being pinned for it. And they'll have true things from the government, maybe even, that will give people a hard time, a hard ass time, um, trying to put all that stuff together. I've seen the videos on YouTube. Anybody can look up some of the stuff that people have on the Clintons and what they did when he was governor and before that, and how they lived and stuff. They're despicable, um, uh, nasty, low life scumbag people, and that's what people think that they want in their government. Do you think I want to be tricked and lied to? Do you know that when Vietnam was going on, that Bill Clinton and Hillary too, I'm gonna drag her in on this one too, but Bill Clinton was out protesting in places like Italy and other places around the world, probably here in the United States also. Whenever he had a chance, was not protesting in the anti-Vietnam movements. He was, from what I understand, he was protesting in anti-American movements. So for whatever reason, they know there's a true enemy of America besides them out there that will cut their head off and didn't even give a two shits about Obama or the Clintons or any of them. But they want to destroy our security and our military and do all the right things as a liberal to get even with America anyways. And there's still a lot of people that can't wait to go and vote for that here in America. It's hard to swallow. It's really hard to really grasp that and understand the true ignorance of my own fellow Americans, regardless of what color you are. I don't know who people think these liberals are. I really don't, but they're not who they say they are. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but it's true. Shit. I knew somebody was gonna call me in the middle of this fucking thing. Anyway, so what do people think rich people are going when they get taxed? When they get taxes, what do people think rich people do when taxes go up? When their taxes in particular go up, and that's what um, Hillary's talking about, and all these other people are talking about. Where do they think? Who do you think is gonna end up taking the burden for the higher taxes, which is gonna make less revenues because eventually there'll be less people paying into that. That'll go to that, you know. So I just want to know, what do you think? What do people think whenever you go and vote? How much money do you think is spent and wasted and is gone by the time it even comes around to time for children or sick people or elderly people or whatever get their money? And a lot of them have paid into the Social Security system and paid for into their 401ks, which is a crock. When I'm driving down the road and I hear somebody on the radio talking about your 401k, how you could build it up and this and that better, I really think in terms of how am I going to basically survive when I'm old and still have enough strength to fight or whatever and take care of myself, you know, as an elderly person, because obviously I'm going to have to do it, do a lot of things myself. The government is not going to be there. You can't depend on them because they're going to crack down on people even more, target their own people even more when there's, like I said, there's a real enemy out there planning to sabotage us. If they had the chance. Oh, and that's another thing that this idiot's doing is he's bringing a bunch of foreign people over here that are terrorists. They're a bunch of terrorists. I've seen them here in Florida in a town. They took over a shopping center here in America, and this was several years ago already. This was already in Obama's first term that these people did that. There were so many of these foreign exchange people that came in, the police couldn't do shit about it. They pulled up like they do overseas, where they stone people to death, but it was like for like a major stoning or something, you know. They pulled up the and it looked like a old wagon too, like they'd use out there, like Amish people would use or something like that. But they pulled up there with these trucks and everything, with all these huge rocks that they were throwing, and they basically took over this place with rocks, more or less. And I was just like, I was so appalled. I think that is not just an act of terrorism, but that's a declaration of war. So that, in my opinion, um, the right the right people in our government, if they don't recognize that like that, and that that's our enemies, and that those people need to be rose up upon and wiped out and killed, no matter how old or young they are. Could be a 7-year-old. If they're old enough to throw a rock and inflict damage, they're dead. In my opinion, they deserve to be shot dead on the spot. And the politicians that don't declare war at times like that, or declare terrorist acts, don't go after the people, sit on their hand. After 4 Americans died, the media went and talked to those people that killed our 4 Americans in Benghazi. The fucking media went over there and talked to these fucking pukes over there, these terrorist fucks, and got a hold of them motherfuckers. But our government says they can't find them. So you tell me who's fucking bullshitting, who's a liar, and who deserves to be shot, and who needs to deserve to go to jail or not. Is it a jailable offense, or is it a rise up and fucking stomp their fucking politician political head into the fucking ground? Big? Is it what? How bad is it that their sins that they have committed here this whole entire time? It's it's a crock and it's a sham. It really is. And I think of um going to war. If that's what you people want, you know, if one side of America doesn't get straight, doesn't get it together, and the other side wants to get it together and wants it straight, we need to meet in the middle and see who's victorious, and keep the government on the sideline, because one way or another they're gonna um heads are gonna roll one way or the other. There's no way that you can't not go into this with this much abuse from the government, from electing people and voting people in the wrong people, that there's not going to be a rise or a revolution, a revolt, a civil war, a contrast of some sort that is going to take place and that's going to happen in this country. There's no way that it's not going to happen. That's my opinion, but I believe that the other side, though, the let it fall into place side, that's what I said, trickle it down or let it fall economies. The let it fall side comes from, I think, my philosophy that I've been taught is limited tax. Now, if you want to understand kind of where I'm coming from, where the forefathers were coming from, and kind of how I believe the country should ought to be run, um, go look up John Locke and research John Locke's laws of nature, and how he philosophized how humans should ought to exist and live. That's kind of my interpretation of it, and you can separate the church from that, okay? But it really doesn't mean like what people think. They're abusive with that, and they think that the separation of church and state gives the government the right to bully people out of a church or out of their religious freedom or their religious right as an individual human being who is endowed by God, because otherwise you would have to think probably what, oh, there is no God or something like that. How would you make an excuse where you have a right to think but the other people don't? So I'm just saying mine, whenever I think that way, I believe it's from abuses. People being allowed to think however they want by other people that are Christians or whatever. And then it comes down to, well, now since you basically went and forced yourselves back upon all of us, now you went and changed all your minds and went the route you went and want to be unnatural with things. Now it sounds like it's time, since you forced yourself on everybody coming back here. Oh, this is what we've learned. We've learned how to live, and basically lollop it all up, in lust and whatever else. When you're given, as human beings, we're all given everything that we need. We don't necessarily get everything that we want, but limited tax. So limited tax puts more money into the government. It gives them creeps more revenues and more of an income, and they don't have to watch everybody else's incomes decrease or stay the same. And other people, everybody around here has to take a pay cut because the government wants to be wild and spend all this money overseas and everywhere else, and then act like, oh, well, we're here for the welfare. So what happens is um, they get all of their revenues that they need, and inflation doesn't go up because People at the stores are not charging you more when you buy something because they were absurdly taxed even more when people are already taxed insane amounts of money at stores. They're going to destroy and ruin the business, and they're going to destroy and ruin the person's relationship with business and whatever people established as a good business for people to come to and buy products from. They're going to they're ruining the relationship between people. So when people have something nasty to say, we're gonna be saying it about each other. I'm gonna be talking nasty about these people because of the way that they vote. But that's how the government has it set up. The government wants us all to hate each other first instead of going after them and rising up and saying, wait a second, we're not taking this shit anymore. I don't want to take this crap anymore. So I just wanted to say one last thing. I've worked a little bit here and there for unwealthy people. I used to have kind of my own little like business kind of like setup type of thing. And I wasn't rich. I'm not rich. So I just did it basically kind of it came down to being sort of favors for people, stuff like that, stuff they couldn't do for themselves, so they had to pay me some way or another. So anyhow, that's all I have to say about trickle it down, or let it fall economy. So one way or the other, and I am still hyperly kind of like aggressively rawly like upset about everything that's been transpired here, and I do not believe that people have to sit there and take the abuse and have to sit there and be abused and just sit there and take that shit. I really don't. So if that's what you liberals think, I'm sorry, but that's where the Confederate flag came from, was from pukes like you little pieces of shit freaking thinking that you own the world and you can manipulate everything to get your own fine wine and lavish things that you have and drive those fancy cars and whatnot, while everybody down here or everybody everywhere else sits in the same place. And it's funny too how, you know, people make it big. Some people make it big and they make it themselves billionaires and stuff like that, and they have opportunity, right? But then why not other people? There's other people that, you know, they have potential to be a billionaire, but they're not. They barely have $100 at a time, you know, barely staying afloat at times. But but I don't know. I don't know what it is. Some people are just really crafty, sneaky little devils, aren't they? Yeah, and I really do mean Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates. I think they're creeps. I really do. I think they're creepy people. They give me the creeps. Um, Donald Trump hasn't really ever give me bad vibes. Hasn't ever really made me creep out. Hasn't ever made me feel creepy of the guy. But Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates give me the creeps, the heebie-jeebies, straight up. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is with all that, but I just told y'all how a lot of people has been bamboozled. If you want to be sitting here with the simple mind and you don't want to wonder how come, why not you? Why can't your mind expand to a billionaire pace to become a billionaire? Why our minds have to stay right where they're at? I don't know. There's some food for thought. But also, if you want to be a simple mind, why can't you go to a job and it not kill you, right? And you be able to make a sustainable amount of money to where you can live how you want to live comfortably, you know, and everybody do great. even if you ever seen like those older people who look like they should be sitting at home somewhere retired, but they're like working at McDonald's or something like that. People like that make me think of people that make smaller wages or do the simpler jobs or jobs that don't require that much brains, but they should at least have their own house, have a condition, a lifestyle at home where they come in and their children and it's whoa, yay, happy people when they go home. And everybody should have that. Everybody should not be also stuck in a mindset thinking, am I gay? Shouldn't I be gay now? You know, it is wrong. It is so wrong. The government is set here to kill people for some reason. I don't know why, but they are trying to use the law like it's gonna be, in stone. About all this stuff that they've done and Obama's done, and it's unhealthy because all it does is it leads to us being taken over by some other country, being invaded or killed or blown away, and then there is no government anyways. Then there was no law. That's how ridiculous these laws and these people are perpetrators, in my opinion, have come are what do you say? How did they? The Manchurian president, the um, the Trojan horse, so to speak. The Trojans sent the Trojan horse in there to destroy the city from within. Um, so that's basically what Obama is. That's what those liberals are. And you can't convince me otherwise. And also, you couldn't get a better Republican than me either, because I say quit screwing around, quit cheating, quit lying to people, and take care of your people at home if that's what they want. If they want 33% of the people to be on food stamps, on HUD housing, government assistance, don't make it so that there's eventually on the streets and homeless. Give that to them. Do that first and foremost before you go and give money away to dictators and other places that abuse people. That right there is like one thing I would want to have politicians, liberals in particular, all lined up and put on trial, on death trials, like they did with the Nazis over that, over human paying people for human violations like that, paying dictators like it's okay for them to mistreat their own countrymen because they're the dictator, the one in charge, and that's how people have to be. No, it isn't. You don't have to treat people like Saddam to keep them in line. We've already proven here for hundreds of years here that there are different places throughout all America because it's huge, okay, that there are ways how this is how to live in a society. The Puritans, probably like the Pilgrims types of people, they sound, when I do more research and history and stuff, the Christians sound like the most honest, most decent, um, most inspiring type of people that, you know, don't hold people back and don't give people a hard time, but have given so much opportunity and done so much good for this place. No wonder they want to tear it all down and destroy it all. Because the Christians set out to try to do it all for the better part of the good, and people will have a straight manipulation of an angel and a devil, and it just depends on how each of us takes that advice. Either we take the evil devil or the healthy, good Samaritan angel trying to tell us, no, 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 don't do that. And then some people totally knock that off like the cartoon and don't even have the good angel. So it's no wonder why stuff is the way it is. But there it is. I laid it all out again, and it's all the truth. So Whatever. You want to try to debate me? I'll debate any of you suckers. And then when I beat you and I mop the floor with you, then I'll tell you to kiss my ass.